Namaste and good morning.
Namaste, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
We start with the session with one Om chant first and one opening prayer. The Pavamana mantra, the purification mantra. Let me chant it first. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Inhale and chant Om one time. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much. What have we studied yesterday?
We're talking about bone joints.
We have seen all the kinds of bone joints yesterday, and today we will first start with the directional terms or the range of motion and movement for these bone joints that we will be seeing or we will study today.
Sir, we started with ligaments, tendons, and fascia.
We also or just define what is ligaments, what is tendons, and what is fascia.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. It was about the connective tissue. So there were the three basic connective tissue that we need to know as a yoga practitioner. What are ligaments, what are tendons, exactly know that, and what are fascia. Now, first to talk about the range of motion and movement for the bone joint. Terminology. So what are these terms that we will see? The first one, the term flexion term. What does it mean by the term flexion? Can you see the whiteboard completely?
Yes.
The flexion term, what does it mean by the flexion? The term flexion, it means when we decrease the angle in between two parts or at a particular joint. When we decrease the angle, that term is defined as the flexion term. So, for example, take our arm. If you will see the elbow joint, so how we say to flex our arm at elbow joint. So when we bend our arm, that is the decrease in between this angle between two parts, the upper arm and the lower arm is what? The flexion movement of the arm. So this is what? The term flexion. Even in between our wrist joint, when we flex the wrist joint, that means to decrease the angle in two parts. So any joint consider decreasing the angle between the two parts is defined as the term flexion. Okay, what will be the extension movement? Is my video working well? I mean, or is my video breaking in between? Is it lagging? Can you please tell me?
No,
All good.
no, it's perfect.
Okay, Because in my screen it is lagging. So I was asking. Okay, that's good. About the extension movement. So when we increase the angle, it is completely opposite as the flexion movement. Here in the extension movement, when we will increase the angle between the two parts, that is, we will extend our arm. So here, increasing the angle between these two parts will be known as the extension movement. In all these postures, this terminology is important as a yoga instructor professionally here when you will try to teach yoga to your students, whether if they are the kids, whether if they are the adults or to the old age group. So these terms, the flexion, extension, and the rest of the terms which we will gonna see now will be helpful as a yoga instructor in your life. So this flexion to decrease the angle, extension to increase the angle in between two parts. We have horizontal flexion and horizontal extension of our body as well. So if I will write here about horizontal flexion, what does it mean by the word horizontal flexion and horizontal extension? Yes, horizontal flexion of our whole body I am talking about. So our horizontal flexion of the trunk, that means if we decrease the angle in between or decrease the angle of our spine sideways. So decreasing the angle of our spine sideways, like if we bend in Parshvottanasana, Parshvakonasana, and Trikonasana. So decreasing the angle in the sideways like Parshvakonasana or triangle pose, that is our horizontal flexion movement. Like if we will decrease the angle. So at one side we flex our spine, but at the other side we extend our spine sideways. That means at one side our spine is flexed, the sideways, the angle is decreased. But at the other side, we can also call it as horizontal extension of the spine or lengthening of the spine. So we lengthen our spine. That is what extension movement. So here, how will you write it? To decrease or decreasing angle of spine sideways. Here, increasing angle of spine sideways. Okay. So we have these four terms. First, we will see about these bone joints. Flexion movement in between any two parts of our body. We have to decrease. Extension, we have to increase the angle in between any two parts of our body. Horizontal flexion works on our spine. That means to decrease the angle in between our vertebrae sideways. Horizontal extension to increase the angle of our spine sideways. Can I erase this? These terms, the four important terms, have you taken?
Yep.
Wanted to ask you, what is the last, have you been told that there is some last day for your course or something?
I have only started this Monday, so I expect it's not my last day.
Okay. Anyway, not a right person. I'm sorry to ask you. Sitaji, you want to say something?
They are like you can attend a live sessions for 3 months. as your syllabus goes on. And you can attend any one, like 200 also and 300 also. This is what I asked them.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
What is the truth now? Please tell us.
The truth, the truth, I don't know. So I was asking you. I just work as a teacher. I am open for all the students, any kind of student. So I was asking you only. Don't ask. I don't
So
ask the management.
syllabus
Yeah.
syllabus of yoga anatomy for 200 hours is not complete, right?
No, we have to also see muscular system. So according to syllabus, if you will go, you will not remember anything if I will teach according to the syllabus, because the syllabus
Okay.
is so small or short, and it
Okay.
is, so we are going more than the syllabus with each and every detail of the system. Just to cover all the systems quickly, briefly, we won't remember or we won't even know after the course anything.
Okay.
Yep. So every teacher
Okay.
will have a different style of teaching. We will learn more than the syllabus in your course.
Okay. So this is going to go on, right? The 8:30 lecture.
It will go on, but at certain at the 26th or maybe on some day there will be the last day for this. Then again the next month the new group will arrive. So again it will start with the new group.
So
So
it will
maybe
start
for,
from the scratch again.
yeah, every month the school will have the new group. So it will start
Okay.
again.
Huh,
So-
right. Yeah,
only-
this is what is told, correct. So every second of the month, second,
Mhm.
the syllabus repeat again. So if it get
Yes.
missed, you can attend. This is what is told. Yeah, correct.
Okay, so I didn't know. So every second day of the month, the online course begins, right?
Yes.
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 Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
But you have joined in between. So I was curious. You have not joined on the second of the month. So you will study half here, maybe half in the next month.
Yeah.
That depends upon your date of joining.
Yeah. Okay. thank
Even
you.
if even if I would like to teach you from the beginning or from the start, that won't help
Yeah.
for the students, because the students' date of joining will be different. So they need to catch up accordingly
Yeah.
on their date of joining.
But is there another option like for following the YouTube online recordings from
Yes,
day one?
yes, that is in the management part. Yes.
Yes, there are recording sessions on Yoga School Bali.
Yes, yes, I saw it.
Yeah, so you can watch there. Yes,
Thank you, Shita.
most welcome.
We proceed now with our terminology, the number 5th one. Here we have the adduction movement and abduction movement. So adduction and abduction. What is this movement, adduction and abduction? First, adduction movement. Have you heard about this adduction movement?
Never. No, never.
Yes.
So it is an anatomical term where we move the part of the body towards the midline. So when we say adduct, or we have adductor group of muscles as well here to adduct the certain part of the body. For example, our forearm or our whole arm or our whole leg. So this is like inline adduction movement if I am standing, or when I will do or bring my arm inside. So that is towards my midline. If I will bring or move the part of my body in towards my midline, That is adduction movement. Whereas abduction movement is what? When we try to move the part of our body away from the midline. So this is the body midline, if you will see. And if we will do or take some distance in between our arm sideways. So we are moving our arm from this shoulder joint away from the body. So that our arm and legs are away, like warrior two, triangle pose. These postures at the start, what we do? We have to do first abduction movement, that is moving the part of the body away from the midline. Then we need to do horizontal flexion movement. That is, we lean at one side so that our horizontal extension also occurs at other side. So there are these movements done in this posture step by step. Got it? What is adduction? Like in eagle pose, what we do? We try to bring our arms together, like in cow face pose. What we do? We try to bring our legs or our knees on the top of each other. That means towards the midline. But in Prasarit Padottanasana, standing split forward bend posture, like first we take some distance in between our legs, that is abduction away from the midline. We do not bring towards the midline of the body. And then we do the forward bend in that particular posture. So here adduction movement, how will you define? Movement toward midline of body. And abduction movement is what? Movement away from midline of body. So we have adduction and abduction movement. Along with that, we have the circumduction and rotation movement. No need to tell what is this rotation movement to you. That is rotating our part completely. We can rotate it in clockwise or in anti-clockwise or clockwise or counterclockwise to rotate our part or from that particular joint. But what is circumduction movement? Circumduction movement is what? To rotate or move the part of our limb, to move the part of our limb in a particular shape of a cone. So if you will remember, yesterday we have discussed about the condyloid joint. So condyloid joints found in our fingers. That means our metacarpal and phalangeal joints. Similarly, the movement of our digits are nothing but the circumduction movement. So this is what? The movement of our digit in a shape of cone. This is not a complete 360-degree rotation. That is known as the circumduction movement. And rotational movement is what? To pivoting or rotating around the axis of the long bone. Pivot is what? Like twisting, pivot joint. Pivot joint is what? Twisting or rotating. Here as the neck joint, if you will see yesterday, you will find it as a pivot joint. That is nothing but our rotation or twisting completely. And circumduction is what? The movement of our limb in a shape of cone. That, for example, our digits, found in our digits, our fingers. Got these 4 important terms as well? Here I have not written. Yes?
Sir, for rotation movement, pivot joint of neck, whether the neck supposed to move in a in a complete circular motion? Like it said that you should not move the neck in a complete rotation motion, like halfway you can go. So what is right? Means I'm confused with this term.
the nerve of where it is said, first I would like to ask. Or in Asana Pranayama Mudra Bandha, are you talking about that book?
No, I learn in my fitness course.
Okay,
Yeah,
So-
during gym personal training.
okay. So here about our neck joint, when we don't have any spondylitis or something, the tiny nerves are being present in our cervical, in our nervous system. So to avoid the injury in these nerves, it is been told that we need not to practice full rotation movement. So to avoid more injury in our nerves, so we can do half rotation up with the breath and half rotation down. But it can be moved in full complete rotation. The neck can be moved in the complete rotation, but it is been avoided or been told to not practice likewise. Half is better to avoid injuries of our nerves. Here,
Okay.
because there are very delicate nerves in our cervical or series of our vertebrae. These nerves are not like our thoracic region, like peripheral nerves. These are very tiny, delicate nerves inside our muscles of our neck behind. So half rotation is better. You are right. We'll erase this. Now, the next term we will see about our arm. So number 9, I will write here first protraction term and retraction term. What does it say by the term protraction and retraction? Yes. Protraction is the term where we can define it only of our shoulder blade. So consider your shoulder blade. What is the name of that bone, shoulder blade? It is known as scapula. So to draw the scapula in front, that means to bring the shoulder joint or the shoulder blade in the front. If you will see here, the movement in the front of the scapula, this is known as protraction movement. But if I will move it back, this is what my retraction movement of scapula. So here, if I will define to draw the scapula shoulder blade forward is what? Protraction. And to draw the scapula backward is known as to retraction. So when we do this Skanda Chakra or the shoulder rotation movement, we have to protract and retract even in certain postures as well. We need to adjust the alignment of our shoulders with the help of the protraction and retraction terms of the scapula, only defined for scapula. Then about the arm, what else we can speak about the shoulder and the elbow joint here? The pronation and supination. So the next term is the pronation and supination. The prone posture. What does it mean, pronation? Have you heard about the prone posture? Yes, no, I cannot hear.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay, so when we face the palms down. That postures are known as prone poses. So when we practice the asanas, that means our palms are facing down. So from the elbow joint here, this is when we twist this, it makes our palms down. So which are these postures when we face our palms down? There are many postures. Yep. And supination is what? Exactly opposite. That means our palms are facing up. Like in Shavasana, our supine posture series. And pronation, that means when we lie down on our abdomen in Makrasana as well, that means our palms are facing down, that is prone posture. So we have standing, we have sitting postures, we have prone postures and supine postures. These are the series of postures we need to practice in a sequence of yoga in asana. So here pronation is palms facing down. I will just write this much. Palms facing up. Supine series. Okay, still here.
Okay.
Now we will see the next about the dorsiflexion and the palmar flexion as well. So the term here I will use number 13 of the wrist. We have the dorsiflexion. Also we have the palmar flexion. Similarly, so dorsiflexion and palmar flexion. Dorsiflexion means when we bring our wrist like fingers pointing upward, like this is our dorsiflexion movement. And palmar flexion movement is what? So this palm facing down. So from the wrist joint, this is palmar flexion. This is dorsiflexion, palmar flexion. Okay. Now,
How to
I
write,
will
sir? Define. I want to write.
okay. So first, I will also write here plantar flexion. So plantar flexion, I will first tell you, then we will write everything. Similarly, like palmar flexion, we have the plantar flexion action. Plantar flexion action means plantar is about the ankle joint here. Dorsiflexion and plantar flexion is also defined for the ankle joint. So we have dorsiflexion, one single term for wrist joint, and dorsiflexion, one single term for the ankle joint. But we have separate terms like palmar flexion for the wrist joint. That means our wrist is going down, fingers pointing down, and plantar flexion is the term where consider this arm as our leg and consider this wrist as an ankle, for example, assume. And if we will move our foot pointing down from the ankle, this is our plantar flexion movement. So flexing the wrist here, if I will talk about the wrist, so flexing our wrist with fingers pointing up. Palmar flexion, similarly, flexion of the wrist, fingers pointing down. Plantar flexion is what? flexing ankle downward. In short, I will write. And dorsiflexion of ankle joint is flexing our ankle upward. Here, there is not extension anywhere. Everywhere it's flexion. That means in every way, we are just reducing the angle between the two parts. We are decreasing the angle, that means flexing. So flexing the wrist up, this is decrease of the angle in these two parts. Flexing the wrist down, this is decrease the angle between our palms and forearms. So this angle is decreased. This is the neutral position. So up, dorsiflexion, palmar flexion. Dorsiflexion of the foot, plantar flexion of the foot. Okay.
Yep.
Can I erase now?
Yep.
Next, we have the elevation terms and depression terms. First, that we will see number 17, right? So elevation and depression. To levitate. So when we draw our body, elevation and the depression are the terms defined for the ball and socket joints only. So the elevation and these terms are defined for the ball and socket joint. That means for our hips and shoulders. So when we draw our hips and shoulders up or upward, that means it is the term levitate or elevation. To depress the hips and shoulders or the depression of the hips and shoulders downward. This is what the term defined as depression. So if we consider these two ball and socket joint in our body, to levitate is what? When we move the shoulder and the hip up from the pelvic and the shoulder up. That is what? To elevation term. And to depress is what? When we bring it down from the shoulder and our hip. That is our pelvic. Hips and shoulders joint. Okay, about this elevation and depression terms?
Sir,
Yeah.
I can understand shoulder elevation and depression, but hip
Yes.
elevation and depression,
Yeah.
not getting it.
Not getting it. So if you will stand in the Samasthiti, so this hip and shoulder allows our whole trunk. When we try to keep our arm on the waist and try to pull or extend it up or draw our hip bone joint up. So our trunk gets shifted. Trunk means our abdominal region, our torso region, our lower back, extend it up. So we need to draw that little bit up, not completely like shoulder. We can move our hip joint, but it just support our shoulder joint from the lower muscles of our abdomen and our back, lower back. It takes it up as well. The shoulder will be helpful to draw our upper muscles of our torso and the upper back up when we take. But if we will move our hip as well, it will consider to take our abdominal muscles, the rectus muscles on our abs and the oblique diagonally at the side, as well as lower back muscles of our spine. It will move, shift up in neutral Samasthiti position. So these are the simple terms if we need to sit we need to sit in meditation. We need to practice this as a warm up, even while we sit in the meditation, just to avoid any cramp. After we can sit for a long period of time in the meditation. So this is all the warm up of our shoulder and hip before sitting in the meditation as well. Now, if discussing about the hips and the shoulders, I will write about the pelvic. So arrangement of the pelvic. So here I will define as the posterior tilt and anterior tilt of the pelvic. So posterior tilt and anterior tilt. So the posterior tilt and the anterior tilt of the pelvic, that means posterior, this term we have seen, I think, on the day one, and the anterior is the front. Posterior means at the back. So when we move the top of our pelvic backwards, posterior means backwards. That is the posterior tilt of the pelvic. And when we move the top of the pelvic in the front, that is the anterior tilt of the pelvic. I write. So here just top of the pelvic moves back. Top of the pelvic move front. So moving the top of the pelvic in the front, that means we stick out our hip. Moving the top of the pelvic in the back, that means we tuck our tailbone. So when we tuck our tailbone, is our posterior tilt our pelvic. When we tuck our hip out, that is anterior tilt of the pelvic. Have you got it? Like the top of the pelvic of the sacrum joint of our spine, or do you need me to show or demonstrate it?
Please demonstrate if you can.
Okay. Let me adjust the camera. Okay. So tilting the top of the pelvic back. Here, can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So this is our pelvic, the hip bone joint. So this is our top of the pelvic. From here, the pelvic will start. And then we have the pelvic portion region up till here, where we have the hip muscles and the top of our thighs muscles, that are our quads. So when we tilt this top of the pelvic backward, so back, that is what? The posterior tilt. And this is to, we are moving backward, and anterior tilt is what? Exactly opposite. So top of the pelvic, we are moving in front. That means we stuck out our hip more. That is our anterior tilt. So when we move it in front, that is anterior tilt. And when we move it behind, that is posterior tilt. Okay.
Yes, understood.
To adjust the neutral position, that is the samasthiti, we need to adjust our spine accordingly. So our completely neck, chin, torso, and the pelvic spine is completely in one neutral position.
So that would be this depression movement, yeah?
That will be the depression movement as well. Yeah. Got it? We have seen more terms now.
Yeah.
I can see the time. We have 2 to 3 minutes left. I hope you have written down and understood this term. Anything you would like to ask up till here, what we have studied? These terms or the terminology of our bone joints will be helpful when you will practice yoga for yourself and you will study for yourself by just repeating or pronouncing or dictating these terms and feeling it in your joints and muscles. So before you start to teach, first try, you should apply it on yourself, this particular term, before you start teaching in a professional way. As a teacher, anything you want to ask here?
Everything is clear. Thank you.
Good. So can we end up this class? We will end up by chanting one Om, keeping your back and spine straight, keeping your eyes closed, and take a long breath. Inhale and chant Om one time. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you so much.
Namaste. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Namaste, everyone. See you on Monday. Have a great weekend ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. You too.